You're listening to From a Certain Point Askew, the only Star Wars podcast to walk through the shadows of the rebellion with you, the listener. On today's episode, just a little lighthearted romp through despair, betrayal, and the crushing inevitability of death. Because we're asking the real question, who's not making it out of Andor Season 2 alive? Will your favorite morally gray dealer of antiquities bite the dust? Does Mon Mothma's hubby get creeping shanked for betting on the wrong side? Will B2 Emo live up to his name and emotionally destroy us by becoming the galactic equivalent of where the red fern grows? Does Lord Vader make a cameo force-choking bitches in preparation for his long walk down the Rogue One hallway? Some have a newfound hope that he will. I'm Jason the Angry Ginger Jedha Guy, inside Wookiee Poo Studios. Got Matt on the screens, so we're going to get into this. Darth Mathias, who's going to live, who's going to die?
I don't know, but I'm excited because we're 1 week away from today.
7 days.
Yes, that is pretty crazy. Yeah. I mean, shit, we're gonna get the first 3 episodes next Tuesday. We're also gonna get Celebration on Friday. This is a big week.
I know.
A lot of stuff going on.
How many episodes are we gonna put out next week?
Like 6.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the fact that Gilroy just continues to apologize for podcasters. He's like,
yeah, that?
Well, I think that's new. I think that was a new interview, even though it was saying the same thing, because he was like, I'm sincerely mean this. You know, for those people, he's like, those people are important is basically what he was saying. I was like, Thank you, Tony.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, because I think the first time we heard about it, it was in print, right? It wasn't to a reporter.
Right. I think it was just in an interview.
And then he said it, was that on the red carpet when they were doing the premiere?
It looked like it.
Yeah.
Boy, everybody showed up at that fucking thing. Did you see that?
Man.
All the people that were there, people from all sorts of different projects were there, including, who did I see that was on there? Simon Kinberg was there.
Oh, was he?
Getting his shit ready.
Starting to show face. Yeah. You're going to know this face. Did he just come out like fucking middle fingers in the air to everybody?
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm in for the long haul. Don't fuck with me. Yeah, he's probably like, I don't want to talk to you podcasters.
Did Ryan Felipe show up?
Unfortunately not.
Not there. They're keeping him in the back.
I don't know about Seacrest, though. Thanks. I want to give a special shout out to Ro from the Scare Scuttlebutt podcast for stirring up a little hornet's nest there with his post about us claiming that Ryan Seacrest was going to be in a Star Wars project.
Yeah, like it was serious.
Oh, my God. Some of the responses were so freaking funny. Are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Like, why do we even bother with this shit anymore? It's going to be terrible. Like, oh, boy.
Did someone call us an idiot or something?
I think somebody called us. Yes, I think so. Probably. It probably deserved.
Oh, I laughed at it. I was fine with it. What made me laugh was they took it serious.
Yeah, I know. It was so funny. He got him.
Yep.
It wasn't more of a gotcha for us. It was a gotcha for them. Yeah, I think you could post anything like that. You know? Mm-hmm. Breaking. This person's in Star Wars, and then people would be like, what?
And he's got the perfect account for it because he's actually got, like, because he's just tweeting all the time, so people are paying attention. So yeah,
right, and enough people that don't have any clue who we are just be like, what the fuck? Yeah.
I think that was what worked, was he quoted us, so it was like something they weren't quite aware of, but then right away it was enough for them to go off.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks.
Maybe we should just maybe I should create an account that just does that over and over and over again. It's like,
I like it.
Like Paul Rubin's ghost to star in the next Star Wars movie. If you want to find our show, from a certain point askew.com, find us on Twitter and Threads and Blue Sky at FactPapod. You can email us factpapod@gmail.com, and you can leave us a voicemail at 678-322-7277. A reminder that May 4th is just around the corner. So if you'd like to participate in our 4th volume of FACPA stories, which is our little takeoff of From a Certain Point of View book type stories, please get us your stories soon because we're running out of time. I think we only have we got 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So anything you want to send in, please do. And some of you listeners out there might reach out to you for some voice work here pretty quick.
Probably this week. Yeah.
Okay.
On the show today, just a few things. Question of the week. Who's going down? Woo. It's my kind of show. News. We got Star Wars horror film. And then we're going to talk the Andor Season 2 preview and predictions.
Yes, so the question of the week, who will not make it out of Andor Season 2 alive, and how will they go down? We got about 4 answers here. Not about 4. Bang on 4. 4 answers on the nose.
I mean, banging and who's going to go down. I think we got our answer in that new clip that just came out.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Slewfoot Fred says, so I posted a picture with that post, and it was Clea, Syril, Luthen, and Bix were all kind of lined up in the picture. Binks. And Slewfoot Fred said, from left to right, dies. How? Probably freaking lasers. He thinks all 4 are going to go down. I don't know about that. Next is Brown Leader says, Brasso will survive an attack on the Ferric survivors, but later die by falling off scaffolding as he is installing their memorial bricks.
Oh.
Now that would be tragic.
He's trying to build the beginning of a new wall on a new planet.
Hashtag Brick Brasso, he says.
Brick Brasso.
Yeah, I think he's used that one before. Loki Jarson says, anyone not in Rogue One dies. Easy. It doesn't, just because we're not going to see them.
Didn't Bix say, well, the actual actress, when she was about a year or so ago, did she say something about actually making it through the series?
I don't know if she ever confirmed that. I don't, but she kind of spoke about it in a way that made you think that Bix was still going to be an option to use later on. So, and finally, Ro, going against that, Bix going to die.
Okay.
There you go. There's your 4.
That was quick.
Yeah. We're going to get into our predictions for deaths here in a minute. In the news, we spoke of Ryan Seacrest earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to get a starring role in this, but Tony Gilroy is just, casually tossing out comments like they were asking, hey, would you do a Star Wars horror film? And he said, I think they're doing that. I think that's in the works. Yeah.
That's a weird thing to ask him because he's never been associated with anything horror.
No, but it's because of his previous comments saying he would like to see a sitcom or horror, like have somebody do. He wants to see other people push the limits and do something else with Star Wars, which I appreciate very much. But I was just like, I think they're working on that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Well, there's been some of the episodes of, was it Clone Wars and Rebels? They did a really good job at or was it Bad Batch? There's a couple, where they do, it comes from the point of view of like horror angle. And I think they do a really good job with the camera work and stuff. So, and there's the big story is the, what's it, Death Troopers? Is that what it's called? The book with the zombies?
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah. So they've done it before in the Star Wars. It's kind of cool to see in a movie. Like, what if they got Paul Thomas Anderson? No, wrong one. Not the good one. Who's the one that did the Resident Evil movies? And he did, Event Horizon. Like, let's get an Event Horizon type Star Wars movie.
Now, see, that would work. I mean, like you said, the animation stuff has all kind of felt a little bit like Alien, kind of like that horror vibe. So, yeah, I think you could do something like that, just highly suspenseful.
Right.
I mean, if you really want to go full on like blood and gore, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre style, that would be hilarious. But I don't think they need to do anything like that.
Like a $1 million Star Wars horror film.
Yeah, right. I think that could be interesting, but I don't think you should do it.
A24 is bringing you Star Wars' first horror film.
If they're going to do this, though, like how else would you see them doing it? I mean, I think the only way to do it is that way because and is it one of those where you use a familiar character or is it something brand new? Because obviously they could do something with Vader, Maul, or Manny Jacinto's character or something like that. What's his name? Chimera. But I think you almost have to do somebody new.
Or like, do they do an Exorcist type thing where young Palpatine gets visited by a priest?
Now that would be something. Vomits all over him.
Yeah, just gets real dark.
What's the money line from that? Your mama sucks cocks in hell. That was a great line. And then, the other one I thought of was they're supposed to potentially be bringing this character into Ahsoka. Is that Abeloth character? Holy shit! You see what she looks like? She's got like she needs. It's like her mouth got cut open all the way to the sides because you can just see her fucking grill all the way around.
What do they call that? A something necktie, right?
Oh yeah, right.
Or no, that's where they slit your throat and pull your tongue out.
Oh God,
right? She's got more like a flip top head.
Jesus Christ. Kid show.
That's a freaky looking character, though. Yeah,
it is.
Even if it's not horror, that's going to be horror-ish just looking at it, not horror-ish.
Horror-ish,
okay? Yeah.
No, she is freaky as shit, and she's associated with the Mortis gods, right? Like she's supposed to be the mother.
The mother.
I don't know, man. That's they booted her out for a reason. We're tired of looking at you, Abeloth. Get out of here.
What if they did like a slasher flick?
Yeah.
Or even something that's kind of meta, like Scream, where it knows it's Star Wars.
That would be something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the scene where Vader is walking down the streets in Kenobi, that felt like a horror film.
Sure, yeah.
Kind of that vibe, So I could see that.
Intense and very, yeah. I want some of that. I want more of that.
I do like the idea, though, of like crazy high suspense. Like you don't see whatever the horrible thing is for a long time in whatever movie that is. Wait for a long time before you show that shit.
Yeah.
Almost like Jaws style. You don't see Jaws till the very end.
Okay.
Andor season 2 preview. I do want to get into predictions, but I thought maybe we could kind of start with what we know, and that is that it's picking up about a year after the finale of last season. So there will be some changes in some of the characters. Obviously, I think we're going to pick up with Cassian working for the rebellion and Luthen, and like seeing him kind of being in his day-to-day mission by mission work. So you see how he's fully engaged in the rebellion at this point. And then you're going to see, like that clip you just shared with me this morning, that Bix, Brasso, and company have, kind of been hiding out on this planet, on the down low, and kind of looks like a Lothal-looking planet. Could be that Ganji moon planet, maybe, that we talked about. That they
didn't it have like a name on the?
Did they say what the name of it is? I didn't think they did.
I think the tweet itself, like the clip, said something. Let me see here.
It said Iowa.
Yeah. On Mina Rao.
Oh.
It says a new clip of Bix, Brasso, and Wilmon on Mina Rao.
Okay. Well, there you go. I have not looked up Mina Rao. So you learned something in the moment. This is good.
Right.
Every shot we see of Bix in the trailers, she's a very changed person, She seems like she's almost borderline sociopath from all the damage that has been done. It seems like she's real hell-bent on getting revenge, essentially, for how she's been treated, how they destroyed her home planet, essentially, or her home city. So all those shots don't line up exactly with who you see in this clip. Like she seems like she's still kind of the old Bix, in that clip, don't you think?
Maybe if she's been away from it for a year, she's kind of been able to go back to that. But then once
it kicks
shit
off,
comes for her, she has to relive all that again.
Yeah, that could be. Or just perhaps the scenes we're going to see later when the Empire shows up on this planet is just going to make her snap. And she's just, We know that obviously they're doing 3 episodes a week and there's a time jump of a year. Essentially the run times we saw between like 45 and 60 minutes each. So they're not skimping us on these things.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a fuck ton to pack into these to every year. So they got a lot to tell, but still we're going to get a lot of stuff. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah. And unlike like the first season where we didn't see Mon Mothma until the second arc, like we know that the wedding's taking place in the first arc. We're seeing Bix and Brasso. We know we're going to see, so we're going to see all the characters from the get-go jumping back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just catching up with where everybody is from being away for a year. So yeah, I mean, you get Cassian in that way. You get whatever. What are we calling it? Mina Rao? You get Mina Rao. And you would assume that they've set up this camp on Mina Rao, and the Empire finds him. It sounds like maybe somebody on the planet's going to sell them out. From what that conversation was.
Well, the guy that approaches them says there's a lot of illegals, and they're kind of aware of it.
Right.
So it's sort of like ICE is coming, but we need our field pickers, so we're not going to say anything, and they're okay with it as long as they get their wheat. Like
the second they don't have enough wheat, though, right? It's over.
Yeah.
Well, and then in some of the clips we saw in the trailers, they show the Empire showing up, and then you see stuff like Wilmon, who's the kid who threw the pipe bomb. The terrorist. He looks like he's like making a break for it through the wheat fields to a ship. Now, what is that ship? It seems to me from a lot of the clips we saw that he may fall in with Saw's crew. Like, I think he's going to get real radicalized into the Saw crew.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah.
And be like, fuck this. You killed my dad. You fucked up my city. I'm ready to like take extreme measures here. Like, I think he might jump into that. And there's that scene also later when Saw is talking to that guy and saying, "You're here, you're ready to fight." That kind of looks like it's him. Have you looked at that close enough?
No.
He's got like some sort of little gas mask on or something, but it kind of looks like from the back of his head, it kind of looked like it might be him. I don't know if it is. And then it looks like it also in some of those clips that Bix is getting jumped inside some building on that planet by an Imperial guy, and she has to whoop his ass. And I think she probably gets away, and then I think that's when you see Cassian, steals that TIE fighter. He comes in and fucking blows up that transport, and then you see that scene with him hugging her. So it seems like all this stuff is happening in the first episode.
Yeah, intense. Like they're opening right out the gate.
Yeah, they tend to show you a lot of what happens early because they don't want to show you what's going to happen.
Does anyone die in the first episode?
That's a good question. I don't think so. That's a hell of a way to kick off. Like, who would die?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anybody we care about that would die? I don't know.
I think Luthen's going to die early.
I don't think he's going to die that early. Could you imagine if he died in the first scene?
Oh, my God. I might fucking turn the TV off.
Hey, man. Casualties of war.
Gilroy's like, well, I don't have to talk to any podcasters.
Oh. Well, speaking of Saw, so I mentioned we talked about it before. They show him staring with this like disgust on his face, looking at Jedha with the Imperial ships above it. That's kind of the beginning of that we're going to see in Rogue One. Possibly, like we said, bringing Wilmot in. And then we see a scene where his crew is taking off from a planet with maybe like a dead rebel trooper laying on the ground.
Yeah, in the doorway there.
Yeah, so, at first it looks like it's Yavin.
Mm-hmm.
Which is possible. It also could be that Segra Milo place where they were camped out in season 1, and maybe like they got attacked or something, and there's just some of the casualties of that event,
right?
And they're just getting the fuck out of there, or maybe it's somewhere else. I don't know, but that was an interesting shot because you're kind of wondering what the fuck's going on there. When you first saw it, I think you thought, did he kill some people on Yavin?
I know.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's them just leaving their old place, or do you think that's Yavin?
I think it's Yavin-like, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, I think that would be weird.
We know we go there. We know that's where we've seen scenes that look like it. It's is it Vel? Who's got
the gun in the air?
Yes. Yeah, and she's got the screens behind her that look very much like So and isn't the person in the doorway like kind of framed and has a jacket on like that? Although there's a lot of people wearing flight jackets like that. So.
There's a lot of people like that, yeah.
So, but maybe they're like, we showed you from the get-go. The first teaser, she was dead. No one picked up on it.
I think if that was Yavin, which I don't think it is, that would have to be like early days Yavin as they're just setting up the base or something. Mm-hmm. But I think it's probably them leaving that Segra Milo place, like them having to get the fuck out of there. Because I mean, there were Empire shuttles above. That's where Luthen ran into those guys when he was leaving that planet. Let's talk Mon.
Okay, I got all day.
You ready?
Yep.
A lot of wedding sequences, like you said. I mean, it stands to reason it would be in the first arc, and Genevieve O'Reilly confirmed it because she's like, "Oh yeah, episode 3 with the wedding, da da da." Which I thought whenever somebody says something like that, I'm like, is somebody standing behind them going,
Right.
Don't
so we're gonna see Syril on live screen.
I know. Haven't seen that. So
yeah,
that'd be pretty sweet. We do see that one pic of Luthen with Mon and Perrin. Oh boy. So does he get an invite to the wedding, or does he just crash it?
Yeah, I don't know. Are they inviting like the higher ups? Like you have to have some tables for them. Like how's that work? But also, like I didn't expect to see him so early on in the series.
I didn't either. But then it also makes me think. So I was thinking, how does he get there? And I thought, does Perrin invite him?
I was going to say they're all like fucking college buddies.
Well,
frat room.
That or he knows that she goes to his shop all the time. He's like, oh yeah, I invited your friend. She's like, fuck.
Luthen, yes, yeah.
Yeah,
but he shows up.
Oh, not Krennic,
not looking like she sees him as like, what the fuck are you doing here?
That could be.
Right?
Yeah. But I'm interested to see how they show him getting in there. And yes, Krennic crashes the party, obviously. And I think you're right.
That's what I was saying. I'm sorry.
I think that fucking numpty Perrin invited him. He was probably like, he's probably going to be like, I didn't think he'd show up. That would just get the gift.
Yeah.
How do you think that scene plays out with Krennic? Because it seems like Mon will be scared to death when he shows up because she's like, oh, fuck.
If she knows who he is, right?
Well, she knows he's ISB.
I'm wondering if the Krennic thing has more to do with who her daughter's marrying in that type of gangster world and stuff.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know I don't know that they would be on his radar so much.
Who's that?
Davo Skoldrin or whatever his name is. Whatever his name is. I don't know that he would be on Krennic's radar that much unless Krennic's like, look, I'm looking for money wherever I can get it.
Exactly.
So, you think he's looking for money that way?
Yeah, any way he can get it.
Everybody's going to that guy for money.
And like crime and politics, it's not like this would be the first time those things go hand in hand,
Sure, of course, but I didn't think about them having to go to people like that to get funding.
They're both going to the same. Yeah.
That's funny. It's his secret stash because he's always fighting for funds anyway with his against other projects. So yeah, that's a good theory. And then of course you're thinking when Krennic shows up, Luthen's going to be like, "Oh shit." He's either going to be like, "Yes," or he's going to be like, "Uh-oh." I'm not sure which.
He's going to have a hard time not blowing that freaking wedding up just to get rid of people.
Exactly. Luckily, I've already placed slap charges in every room.
Right. Yeah.
Boom. Sorry, Mon. Your daughter's dead.
That's why Mon looks so worried. She knows what he does when he arrives.
Yeah, right. Oh no, it's the Trigger Man.
Right. We want, yeah, the fireworks are supposed to be the display in the sky, not here in the building.
Yeah, can you wait till they leave for their honeymoon?
I think it's going to be an intense scene, though, much like when Mon is first meeting her friend.
Oh, Take Holma?
Yeah, when they're playing the game of like they're saying one thing but really saying another and moving, and she keeps telling him to smile. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those really intense scenes.
I hope Tay's invited to the wedding. I like his character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So far, he put them there, so she's got to play nice with him, right?
I would think so.
Yeah.
You're thinking Krennic doesn't know shit about what's going on with Mon and Luthen and stuff. He just happens to show up because of other reasons.
No, he's too self-consumed with his own shit.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think he's there like, oh, I'm on to you, Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he's there for the fucking hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you noted on Twitter before, and we mentioned earlier in the show, just the fact that there's like very specific cuts of Luthen in the trailers, but overall they don't show a ton of him.
No, there's like just a couple of shots and you hear his voiceover, but yeah, they're really keeping him in the dark, which I'm wondering why.
It's we get that picture at the wedding, we get that shot of him looking like he's either making something or cooking something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a couple exchanges he has with Cassian, kind of inspiring him. But other than that, there's not a lot of him. And so, yeah, it makes you want. I mean, we're like 99% sure he's going to die, you know?
Yeah.
He's got to die.
I mean, killing him early would, I think, it wouldn't work, right?
I think you got to keep him around for a bit.
Right. He would almost have to die after Mon gets rescued.
I think.
When she changes sides and she starts to bring the rebellion together, because right now he's the one that's holding everything together. No one knows that.
Yes, and we'll get into all the other deaths later, but let's talk about his for a second. I think he's going to die before she gets saved. What I'm trying to figure out is the Gorman stuff is very confusing because they said there's going to be 5 episodes. Didn't somebody say that? 5 episodes on Gorman? In order
to like make the budget for the show work, they had to use quite a bit of that city.
Yes, so I think there's two. Well, there has to be, because there's a year cut between. There's 2 segments of things that happen on Gorman. I think the first one is Cassian going there, looking all debonair with his outfit, kind of playing a role.
Right.
Going into the hotel, he's got the sniper rifle out. I think he's there to fuck somebody up, and it causes a big mess. And I think that may be when he dies, Luthen. So like,
like friendly fire. Ooh.
End of second arc, maybe.
Yeah.
Because then the third arc would be the Gorman massacre, and that's when all that shit pops off. But I feel like he's got to die in Gorman. I think because I think Luthen dies there, and I think his last words are spoken to Cassian.
Probably, and it makes sense because like his speech is where he's telling Cassian he needs to be a leader.
Yeah,
I mean, like if anything, it pushes Cassian, Vel, and for them to hold her and Mon to keep everything in play. Mm-hmm. You know, because like he's not there to do it anymore. So like it pushes them all up to like the next level. Like, you know, they've got to be serious about this and keep making this shit happen.
Yeah.
You know, so they have to like do it in Luthen's name, sort of.
I just feel like regardless of if it's in the second arc or the third, he dies on Gorman. I just think that that's where he's going to go down. I think he's going to show, because they showed, I think there's a couple clips of him kind of walking around those streets. So I think he's there.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if I took it as it was Chandra-La.
Oh,
just
maybe.
Because we see him walking and approaching Mon Mothma, and I thought that was there.
I thought there was another one where it's just him walking down the street and nobody else around him and like kind of looking around. I don't know. That's my thought, is that it's Gorman where he's going to go down.
Also, he's like, you know, he's 3 plays ahead of everyone, so he might be doing something we're really not clued in on yet. What he's up to.
Sure, of course, yeah. No, yeah. And didn't he have some comment? I feel like Skarsgård made some comment recently where he said, you know, he's living this double life or triple life or whatever. I was like, what's the third? So you're a spy and a rebel leader.
It would be his actual life?
He's got a wife and kids somewhere.
Well, that'd be fucking funny. Not even that.
You're
I was just
never
thinking,
home,
like,
Dad.
whatever his original life was, if it's not the character he's playing on Coruscant, and then he's running around playing spy, then that would be the other. I don't see him married, with children, and he's just off with a briefcase. I'll be back in a month.
In his third life, he's a stand-up comedian, a struggling stand-up comedian. How about the Empire, right? Ooh. Oh, man. Let's check in on Syril and Dedra here real quick, because holy shit, the power couple. Clearly they're getting it on, and there's some romance going there.
From the language and the body language, it seems like maybe there's been a couple of hookups, right?
I think
and she's like, well, you're not staying here.
I think there's an arrangement.
You think that's what it is?
Because
she sounds like she's like that busy woman, but on Wednesdays she just needs a dick.
Well, no, I think she needs to get loose because she's dealing with all this shit all week. But at the same time, and I think she also has an appreciation for him because she feels like he saved her life.
Mm-hmm.
But he takes it so serious. I think she just knows she can kind of wing him around a bit, do whatever she wants. Like, she's in total control of this relationship.
Right, but like, wouldn't she be like one of those people, like you always hear stories of, like, the dominant business people are the ones that like to be submissive? Is
this the Nicole Kidman show that just came out?
You're talking about the milk? What's it? Was it Baby Girl?
Whatever the one is where she's like the boss. Yeah. And the intern comes in and starts ordering her around and shit.
Yeah. Yep.
Is it like that?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And Syril would take that. He's like, oh, she's in love with me. And meanwhile, she's just cutting checks and she's like, you got to go, buddy. Like, he's just a paid prostitute.
Yeah. Well, I'd certainly think it's either that or she's very ashamed to be in a relationship with him because she's like, we need you to be sneaking around.
That's why she wants the lights off.
I was going to say, I wanted to play this drop for you earlier when she said that because in the clip, she says, she keeps telling him to turn the lights off, which is funny because he's at her place, right?
Yeah. And she's already told him he can't stay.
Right. So every time he walks in the door, she's like,
now we all alone while the lights on.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out what the dynamic is there. And are we going to see that in arc 1 or are we going to see that in arc 2? Like when it's got to be early that they give us an update on them. Don't you reckon?
Right. Yeah. Because if it's been a year, she can't keep him. Like, is it going to happen that long? Like, I think we're just going to be, it's happened before.
I think it's been going on for quite a while.
I texted you though. And I want the listeners, if anyone, I swear to God, we had a joke about this a week or two ago.
About the lights on or lights off?
Yeah. About like, which one of them it was about living with the mom and them fighting or something. And then it went on to something about one of them demanded the lights had to be out. And when I saw that scene, I thought I was having a fever dream. I was like, this can't be real.
Who do you think wants the lights off? I mean, well, obviously we know that she wanted it, but who do you think we thought at the time?
I think her. I think, it makes sense. I mean, and Syril is such a cuck. He'd be just like, okay. In the meantime, he's putting on fucking Splinter Cell night goggles. He's like, right. I'm going to see everything.
He's got Google Glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm real interested to see what the dynamics of that relationship are. What about Needy Edie, as the actress Catherine Hunter called her? She called herself Needy Edie.
That's the mom?
Yeah.
Oh, she's listening at the door.
Oh, man. She's got something. She's planted a device on him.
And every time he comes out to go to the bathroom, because, guys got to use the bathroom afterwards, she's just fucking she won't even let him into the bathroom. She's blocking the door and she gives him pointers on what he's doing wrong.
You got to wait for her to come first.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Deirdre's fucking like hung up like a scarecrow with sheets in the bedroom. Like,
I'm looking forward to the relationship between her and Edie because there is a behind the scenes shot where they show those two in the same space. So he's like, I want to bring my girlfriend home to meet my mom.
Uh-huh. And I can't imagine either of them are going to have nice things to say to each other.
No. I think it's going to be a lot of, what it'll be.
Or do they get along because they both start picking on him?
Exactly. They have the shared digs at Syril, and he just has to be the whipping boy for both of them.
Yeah, he can't get his heart on down.
It's either that or when Edie's picking on him, that's when Dedra will defend him.
Oh, or like Syril has to leave for work like an hour early, and she kisses him on the way out and then closes the door and she turns around and just like cuts her throat.
I don't think Edie's dying. You think Edie's dying?
I want her to.
We thought Syril was going to kill her at one point.
Yeah, but like I would be interesting if she keeps, it's like you can pick on my friend, but no one else can.
Yeah, right.
Right. So like she's just like, what are you talking to my man like that for? You know?
It's the older brother, older sister kind of mentality of, I will kick my younger sibling's ass. You do not touch them.
So do you think we see anything, or is it just through words?
As far as, what do you mean?
Like, are we going to have like a disclosure sex scene?
Oh, you think we're going to see sex scene between those two?
I'm just asking.
I don't think
so, but
I don't think so. No, I think you'll just see, they did show him kind of sort of kissing the cheek there. That was about it. But yeah, I think it's just going to be a lot of implied stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Like she's going to be cleaning out stuff underneath the bed and find a bunch of toys and be like, oh shit.
Oh, so who dies out of those three?
Ooh, I don't think it's Edie. And I'm not sure. Let's hold that for a second. Let's go through the rest of the plot stuff because I want to do the full death sequence.
Okay.
Because those two are tough to say. So many other people are easier to call on who thinks going to die, but those two, I don't know, man. I'm not sure how they're going to handle that. I was trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about with the Gorman stuff. Are you kind of on board with the fact that it's like something major happens in that place and then it builds up? You start seeing this like Empire resistance, and then that's when the massacre happens. There's this massive protest. Like that's the second one. The first one is the doing of the rebellion themselves. Whatever kicks off there.
I think that Luthen pushes for it to happen because he knows they need like that spark, right? They need the what's his face, was Archduke Ferdinand. They need that fucker to get shot in the head and starts World War I.
Right.
2. 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that this is that, and you need something big enough that's going to like go across the galaxy.
Yeah.
That's going to be, you got to pick a side, you red or blue.
So is he trying to set that up in the first go around when Cassian's there and possibly sniping somebody, or is it really through the protest that he tries to make that all happen? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it could be a failed thing.
That's what I'm thinking.
And then he knows he has to go big or go home.
That's what I'm wondering. Well, and then also it looks like Syril, speaking of Syril, in his fucking Harry Potter garb, is on Gorman. This guy's always in the wrong place.
I know.
Or the right place, I guess.
And how does he not get in contact with his homeboy? Because his homeboy's always on the phone telling him, you got to go here.
I know. Linus has got to show up. He says he's not in it. The actor said he's not in it. But come on, Linus has got to show up.
I hope that's the biggest, like, no one saw it coming. Is Linus is.
That's the biggest. Of all the Andor stuff, it's Linus showing up.
And he's the only one that lives.
Well, we know some people live. Well, let's talk about the Mon escape. So the massacre happens. She goes and delivers that speech, denouncing the Emperor and all that stuff, like kind of really lays into him. Basically saying he's responsible. He's the one who did this.
So she's not on Gorman when it happens.
I don't think she's on Gorman when it happens.
All right.
She learns of it, and then she is delivering this message in the Senate. That's where she's, the monster will come for us all. That scene, that's all. That's her delivering that speech. And then in some of these pictures we saw, so in the trailer you see Cassian walk in with this brown leather jacket and just down some hallway.
Yes.
And then in the pictures we saw, she's wearing that jacket. So you would assume that he's the one who has to get her out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So does he get her to the ghost then? Because that's how she ends up getting out of there.
Well, I mean, how much time goes between? I don't remember the Rebels episode exactly. I know that that's how they play it, but it starts off with like them rescuing her. But do they rescue her from Coruscant?
I think that somebody brings her to them.
Right. So that's the thing. So that we probably won't see. We'll just see Andor rescue her and get her to the place that's going to secure her to the next whatever, and that'll be the Rebels, and we'll never have to see it. Maybe we'll see the ghost ship.
That's what I was wondering. Would they show the ghost? Just is that the reference? We don't actually see the crew, but just the ship itself. That's what I was thinking. Because I think there's going to be some nods here. We'll get into cameos here in a bit. I think it's going to be a lot more nods and references than it is going to be people actually showing up. When I did look up, because I think it was 2 episodes she was in Rebels. Maybe it was just the one. I can't remember. But when they transport her so she can like send that message declaring the rebellion across the galaxy, they're hovering over Dantooine. So that's what I was thinking. Are any of these shots we're seeing in the trailer? Is that Dantooine on any of those? Like where Saw was when those guys are taken off, or there's some other shots that they show that we're not sure what that planet is. But Dantooine has been mentioned since A New Hope, and so it makes you wonder if we're actually going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder.
And Dantooine is where they're at before they go to Yavin, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's the base that she gives up to Tarkin. And then
Leia
they realize Leia.
Right.
Yes, sorry. And then they realize that it's been abandoned.
That's probably what we're seeing in the trailer and the dead bodies and stuff is maybe they're like fucking. They know someone's coming. There's a fight. They need to get the hell out of there. Maybe that's the Death Stars. We see it from. We don't see it from no, because it would be too early for Leia to be involved, wouldn't it? It
would be, Leia is in Rebels in like 2 or 3 BBY.
Right, yeah.
I can't remember which year.
So we'll just see the different angle of it.
Well, wait, what a different angle of what? What are you saying?
We'll just see the destruction from the point of view of Dantooine.
But what destruction? They don't. There's no mention of a destruction of Dantooine. They just say that they find it and it's abandoned.
Mm-hmm. That's what they say.
Nobody was there, we swear.
They're covering their tracks. It was abandoned, so we just blew it up.
No, but it did cross my mind that the Saw scene is maybe that is Dantooine they're leaving. I don't know. I don't know what Dantooine's supposed to look like. So I'm not sure.
Because he's got and why does he, out of all places, why does he go to Jedha?
Yeah, good question. Why does he end up there? What makes him pick there?
And we got to see him get fucked up. So I'm wondering if he's on Gamora as well.
Gorman, you mean?
That's what I said. Yep.
Maybe, because he gets fucked up somewhere.
Names. I'm not going to remember all of them, and I don't care.
I know. You do a good job, though. Pretty good.
Thank you. Thank you.
40%.
Pretty good.
No, but you're right. I think maybe he gets all fucked up in some battle. I don't know if it's Gorman, but that causes him to. Or maybe he's like, I'm getting on age. You know how people get older? They move to warmer climates.
That's like his retirement place?
Yeah.
He's like, going to Florida?
It's better for my skin and my breathing if I go to the desert.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing that I wonder if they'll reproduce this or if it will be shown in any way, but there was that great exchange that those two have, Mon and Saw, in Rebels, where he is on the Hollow.
Yeah.
And I think are they on Yavin? I can't remember where they are when they have that exchange. I think it's Yavin. Anyway, they have this exchange where he basically says, have fun morally fighting your war by the rules and losing.
Right.
Idiot. That's kind of how he's talking to her. Because he says something along the lines of like, I hope when you lose, you're going to feel good about the fact that you fought the right way. That's essentially what he's saying to her. He's like, you got to stop fighting on their terms and fight on your own,
Yep.
And also the fact that the Empire they do anything they want. So if they're going to do anything you want, you got to match that.
We're talking cameos after this, right? So I won't bring it up yet.
Yeah, let's talk. You want to do cameos or death?
Let's do cameos.
Okay, let's do cameos first. So Tony Gilroy claims that they will not do cameos unless it is integral to the story.
Yeah.
And so, because there are a ton of people who could show up in this that makes total sense. I do want to make sure they don't go nuts with cameos, and I don't think they will, because I think that takes away a little bit if you start just throwing people in left and right for fucking
There's a
fun.
couple places where it makes sense, like even organically, for them to be there.
Well, like there's some that I could see. Like, so we could see Bail Organa. I could easily see him.
I was just going to say that at the wedding.
At the wedding and also in the Senate. Like,
Yep.
It would make total sense for him to show up at some point. He's got to be there.
Yep.
Are they going to show any one of Vader, Tarkin, and Palps? Because they're all over this shit, especially Tarkin.
As you get closer, I think you have to.
At least on Hollow, right?
I think you'll see Palps on Hollow, or you'll hear him.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible for there not to be a Vader.
There's got to be some inclusion, but I just hope they don't. I hope it's very minimal. I don't want them to use a bunch of Vader.
Right. I don't either. But
it's not his story.
Have that right. But he starts. He works best as like the boogeyman, and he did that to Krennic. Sorry. Some of us.
You were thinking of Kenner. You were thinking of the figures.
Yeah, the toy line is what I had in my head. Fucking A. No, I think that worked well. I liked how he was always like kind of on his ass, which then put him on everyone else's. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
well, it's just the thing I think you just have to be careful with here is that the people that we know and we met in season 1, this is their story. I just don't
Yes.
want to bring too many other people in that have major roles.
Mhm.
Little cameo roles are fine. I just don't want them to go, okay, Vader's going to be all over this episode. Don't need to do that.
Right, no. But I mean, for this to start melding into that world that we're going into Rogue One and A New Hope, some of it makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, especially Tarkin. I don't know how you don't involve Tarkin.
Yeah, right.
He's got to be involved. You know, you got Krennic, you got the Death Star, all that
Yep.
shit's involved. So,
Yep.
And also you've got that shot that I still think could be Raven's Peak that's on Tarkin's home planet. And if you're going to do that, then you got to have Tarkin. Even if it's like just a shot of his butt from behind and you don't actually see his face.
Yeah. Do we get any like early Thrawn? Like if
That's a great question.
If they're there, we gonna see him like on a hologram or something? Or
that's a great question because he's all over Rebels at this time,
Yeah.
so it would make total sense. You know, I was thinking about just in general who else would you might possibly see from Rebels? You know, I don't think they're going to show any of the members of the Ghost crew.
Yeah, right.
But the other thing you got all the fucking Fulcrum agent shit going on. Ahsoka, you got Agent Callus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shit, if Agent Callus shows up, a bunch of us nerds are going to be like, oh, fuck yeah.
I don't know if we'll see anyone animated. I think if we see anybody, it's from either Rogue One or New Hope. Someone that makes sense to be, that would be there, that goes into the other two movies.
Okay, so you don't think anybody from animation. You don't think we're going to see... Well, the Grand Inquisitor, he'd probably be dead by now.
Except for Thrawn. Thrawn would make sense only because of what they're doing with him later on.
He's been in live action. So.
Right, yeah, to fill the holes a little bit, yeah.
And then... Well, like, because we're not going to see clones like Rex and Gregor and Wolf and shit. That's all kind of, I don't think. I do like that name a lot, Ryder Azadi, but I don't think we're going to see him. He was the governor of Lothal. I don't think we're going to see Maul. Please don't bring in Maul. You don't need to bring in Maul.
No.
What about people from season 1, like Kino Loy? Is he going to show up or is he just a memory? That's Serkis, Andy Serkis.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I would like to see him again. I just don't know where he would fit.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know anything about his past, right? So we don't know where he would show up. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing because like he shows up right at the moment when the Gorman massacre happens. Like he just walks in right as it happens. Like fuck.
You see him walk in, and you're like, "Hey, holy shit! It's Kino!" Boom,
dead. Oh man, that would be rough. That'd be a rough way for him to go. Because he kind of hinted at it. You know, Andy Serkis, he almost said like, well, I think he lives, right? You know, so he's throwing that out there. I imagine Uncle Harlow will remain by name only, and we won't actually see Uncle Harlow.
or if we see him, he has to be like she's built him up to be something, and he has to be the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, she sees him as that.
Like just a stumbling, bumbling, petty little shithead. Yeah.
Right. But she would know better because she doesn't go to work with him, right? So
right.
He can be like, oh, yeah, I do all of this at work. Meanwhile, he cleans the fucking vac tubes.
You mentioned original trilogy characters. So we're not going to be seeing anybody big, right? No Leia, no Han, no fucking Yoda, no... Well, 3PO, we know he's available, the actor.
I would not be surprised if he gets shoehorned in somewhere.
They fucking love to do it, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
What about Wedge? I could see Wedge showing up, but I just don't know how they do it.
Yeah, and really, you know, the mystery is what are the last 3 episodes?
Right, because you would assume that the Gorman Massacre happens in episode 9 or whatever around that time, wrapping up the 3rd arc. So what are they setting up? Well, Mon's got to get away. That's a big part of the last arc. And then it's just them setting shit up on Yavin and getting ready to go.
Right, like I figure those last 3 episodes are basically us seeing the rebellion form.
Uh-huh.
But there has to be something else going on with the Empire.
Right. There's got to be some Saw shit in that one, too.
Right.
What about other Rogue One people, like Galen and Jyn Erso? Galen makes sense.
Galen would make sense. Jyn, no. Like, I don't even know how they would squeeze her in.
I don't think they should. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense because she kind of was off the grid there.
Right.
Galen does make sense totally. Did they ever say he was going to be in it? They never said he was going to be in it, did they?
They didn't.
Okay.
No.
I would love to see him show up. Bodhi Rook, you know, the guy who's the pilot that escapes and goes. You could. No. I don't think so. Unless, what are they going to show Galen have that conversation with him?
Yeah.
Hey. There's some of those other people that would show up, like General Dodonna, the guy that we see in A New Hope, and also we see in Rogue One, the gray-haired general. There's Admiral Raddus, the guy who's above Scarif leading that battle.
Yep.
people like that could show up. There's that dude that has the bad arm that he kills in the beginning of Rogue One. He was like, I can't climb my arm. And then he goes, it's okay. And then shoots him in the back.
Oh.
The very first scene of Rogue One.
Yes. Well, yeah, I think didn't they say that the show kind of ends just as that's going to happen? So I would assume we'll meet that character.
Well, maybe because it would set up that scene, but
right.
it also, well, two things.
And that was one of the scenes that Gilroy came in and crafted and put in the movie, right?
Oh, did he? To show him being kind of ruthless?
I think so.
Oh, could be. But I mean, there's two things. One is I think they essentially said the season is going to end with him like walking to the ship to go fly to the rings of Catherine or the ring of Catherine. But Diego Luna has been saying all along in every interview that he's had, so many things are going to happen in the season that are going to make you see Rogue One totally differently. Lines you get in Rogue One that would have been normally like kind of pass over. Now you're going to be like, holy shit. Like they said, they play that out.
I'm interested to see how that works.
What about Bo-Katan? No. Enfys Nest?
No.
I had to throw it in there. Poor Enfys Nest. She got her one role. Is there anybody else you can think of? I think that was kind of the big crop of cameos. Did you have another one?
No, it was Bail Organa, Palps, and Vader were the three that.
Okay.
If those three seem to me like the only ones that would organically fit into the show somehow.
Okay. Now we could play. Will they live or will they die?
Yeah.
So you had an idea for this, which was let's go through and predict who we think. What was your thing you called it? Death before Rogue One. Bingo. D-Brob. But it's do they die? What episode and how? Is that correct?
Yeah, it's like Clue.
Yeah, right. Exactly. In the study
right.
with the wrench.
Had I known you were taking this serious, I would have wrote things down.
I like the idea.
Yeah,
so
I
think we can come up with something here. First of all, we know Cassian, Mon, Saw, Melshi, and Krennic all live, so they're out of play. What about, we talked about Luthen. My prediction is episode 6. I think it's going to be in the first go round in Gorman. You think maybe it's going to be in the actual massacre sequence or arc?
Yeah, if he's the one that does it, that's causing this to happen or pushes it, I think he has to be there, and maybe he doesn't get out of there. Yeah,
I think that's definitely how he goes. Like I think he dies in a fight that he creates.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to end up going down, whether that's being getting shot or an explosion or something. I think that's what happens, and I think it's on Gorman.
Right. So if we go, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. So it'll be episode 7.
Oh, so the beginning of the third arc is what?
Because episode 7 will probably be the Gorman massacre.
You think it happens at the beginning of the arc?
No, the middle of that arc.
The middle of that arc would be episode 8.
4, 5, 6. I'm sorry, 8. Yes.
8. Okay. So you're thinking 8. I'm gonna jot this down so I don't forget. I think Bix is gonna make it. Do you think she's gonna make it?
I think she makes it. Yeah.
Okay. I just don't think she dies.
I think it would probably change. Well, I guess it would turn Andor into more of a I'm just gonna fucking kill anyone that gets in my way now.
Oh, how it affects him going into Rogue One? Because
really, that's the thing. Yeah. Because to me, it's the only thing that's keeping him, like, it humanizes him still.
True, but is it that means that she has to die because then he's free to date Jyn?
Yeah, well, there's not really a romantic.
There's a vibe there between the two of them.
Yeah, I just looked at it as mutual, but
it could be. It could
maybe.
be. I felt like there was some vibe going on there.
I think there was more of a vibe in some of the trailer stuff that was cut out.
Oh yeah, no, that's probably true.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be really awkward when Cassian finds out that Bix is actually his sister from back on Kenari. Just kidding.
Oh, now here we go. Does that come up?
The sister?
Yeah.
I just think it's weird that you set it up as this big driver of him and don't ever pay it off in any way, shape, or form. I guess you could say, well, they explained it. She died, and that's why he's somehow like he kind of is disassociated and stuff, and it is played into his personality and his way he goes about life. Even his mom
tells him to let it go.
Yeah.
So, but there's a woman, and it looks like she's in like the Gorman episodes when shit's going down, and I can't tell
Oh, that would be awesome if
If
she's
it
like
was Vel,
she's like a
or if
separate
she
rebel.
becomes, or if she just somehow gets involved, or she's involved with him, but they just haven't shown who it is. But there's someone they've shown a couple times in the trailers, and I don't know who that is, and I'm wondering if that's his sister.
I mean, if she's like has worked her way up a different rebel cell,
Right.
and all of a sudden there's going to be this moment where she's like, Casa? And he's going to be like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that could be good.
Maybe that's who he was sent to kill.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know,
why
man.
why it doesn't happen. Yeah.
That could be. Oh, shit. I'm real worried about Brasso. I'm real worried about him.
He's going to have to die protecting them, right?
There's a scene where he's on the ground and the troopers are around him. So he gets captured. When those others get away on the wheat planet,
right.
He's captured. And so it makes me wonder, is he just get imprisoned and we don't know what his end result is, or does he die?
He has a whole arc with Kino Roy.
Kino Roy. Loy. Kino Roy. I love how it's just always just a little bit off.
Yeah. That
so
one was
perfect.
not intentional. That was, I don't even know.
Kino Roy is the guy that you run into in Reno at a casino. There's Kino Roy over there. Plays
We're
all
writing
day.
it down because it's going to be Kino Roy from now on.
Can't get him off that Kino machine.
Kino Roy. It's a totally different character.
Oh my God. If I had to say it, I think Brasso is maybe somebody who dies early. I think if he dies, it's in that first arc, and it's like episode 2. I'm worried about him. Wilmon, the kid, I think he's going to die fighting for Saw.
I think you're right. I think he ends up with Saw's group. Yeah, I don't see him making out of this alive, but yeah, I think that's probably where he goes.
I think he dies. I'm going to say he dies like maybe that third arc somewhere. Maybe he ends up on Gorman. I don't know. Maybe he's one of the people that Saw sends there to be involved.
Right? Doesn't with all the action scenes that are going on, isn't he there?
I don't know if we ever know that he's there. Although there's a lot of shots of him like pulling a gun and stuff and being in like these daylight scenes. So maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say episode 8 and he dies.
Okay.
Fighting for Saw. Vel. Here's my hunch on Vel.
I think her and Cinta die. I'm just trying to figure out who dies first.
I think Cinta dies, and I think that happens in like fairly late, like maybe the beginning of the last arc, and Vel like goes on to kind of honor her commitment to the rebellion.
Yeah, I think so, but I think she dies earlier.
So I don't know that Vel dies on screen. I think she's still there on Yavin, and we just assume that she's part of the rebellion, but we don't actually see her otherwise. I feel like she might make it, but I think Cinta dies for sure.
I do. I feel the same way.
Perrin. God, I thought he would die. Now I'm wondering if he does. Maybe he just gets left behind.
The thing is, it's like, what happens to him if she gets rushed off the planet after, like, is someone else going for her family? That's the tricky part. Or is she on Coruscant and they're still on Chandrila?
Good point.
So it's really gonna matter where they are.
What does she do? What does she do that frees her up to leave, knowing she's leaving behind her daughter who could be vulnerable?
Right. We talked about that in the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does she go on to do what she does if she's got a child out there still?
Yeah, because even though her daughter kind of hates her guts, I mean, she still loves her daughter.
Unless they fake her death, so that way her family's left alone.
Maybe because I don't think she really cares about Perrin. Maybe just a tiny bit, but I think it's really just down to Leida, and does she? How would she make that speech? Get the fuck out of Dodge and not worry about the fact that they would take that out on her.
Yeah. So there's probably more we'll probably see a lot of things happening at once.
Maybe she pushes Perrin and Leida to like get the fuck out of there. Like, I've got something arranged for you guys. You guys need to get the hell out of here. I don't know.
Which would mean Perrin's like more loyal than we were expecting. But like in the book that I'm reading, but that's, takes place a bit before all of this. Right. They kind of allude to that. Well,
and maybe that's what it is. Maybe in the end, he isn't quite as much of a cunt as you think he's going to be.
Right.
And he's like, hey, this is still my daughter who I care about. And we have this long history. So I'm going to do the right thing here.
Could be.
Or she kills him.
I mean, in my head, it's always turned into like, that's the only way she can move on with what she's doing.
Right.
It's because his fucking little prying eyes and fingers can't be, because he knows too many people that he's friends with that she doesn't respect or want to be involved with. And he seems to be okay with it. And the gambling thing as well. And now she's pinning the whole fucking missing money on his addiction.
Well, and maybe there's something that happens in the course of this season that opens his eyes to just how shitty all these people around him are.
Right.
And he has an about face.
And that's such a good plot character development, and I don't want that for him. But this is selfish.
He might die. Who knows?
Yeah.
Keep your hopes up.
I think she has to have something like that happen to her, though.
For like him to turn around?
Or maybe like losing her family, right? Like what's going to push her to actually go against everything? Because now she has nothing to protect except for herself.
Oh, so you think maybe they both die? Maybe Perrin and Leida die?
Could be, yeah.
Oof, God, that'd be harsh. Poor Mon. Life of struggles.
Yep.
What about Clea?
She dies, but later, like last minutes. Yeah. Because I think she becomes the Luthen.
Right, because we see that whole scene where she's upset.
Yeah.
And freaking out and like screaming at Cassian. And to me, that says that Cassian probably came there to tell her Luthen's gone. Like he died. And she's blaming Cassian. Like you were supposed to fucking watch out for him. What the fuck?
Yeah.
But I think she dies. I don't know if it's sacrificing herself or something, or if she just fucking by her own hand. She may feel like she's out of options.
Suicide.
I don't think they would do that in this show, but it's been pretty dark. So maybe.
Well, I can see if they do, it'll be a sacrifice. So she'll be doing it for a cause, right? I don't think she's going to give up. She's not going to give up.
I wouldn't think so, but she's I think she's pretty broken by the end. I think Luthen was her fucking rock, and now she's like, shit, he's gone. What the hell am I supposed to do?
Right.
You mentioned Dedra and Syril earlier. I mean, I could see one of them buying the farm on Gorman because I think they're both there.
They are.
But I don't know. Like, I don't know. Who do you think dies? Or do you think both?
I think both die, but if they don't, I think...
Holding each other?
Yeah. And she's like, let go of me.
She only dies because he wouldn't let go.
I think he is going to have some type of change of mind.
Like against the Empire.
Yeah, I think so.
And then she's going to shoot him between the eyes.
Fuck, that could be, yeah. Or like they're both going to the same thing, and as he's having his change of mind, he doesn't pursue that route or whatever, and she's killed because of it.
Wait, explain that again?
Whatever the end destination is, the big fucking result, anything, whatever the big event is after the Mormon, I'm going to say all wrong now on purpose.
The Mormon massacre?
Yeah, the Mormon massacre.
Oh my God.
They all got to go.
It's all in Utah.
I think they're both, he's going to be doing anything he can for her. And at some point, I think he's just going to have to decide for himself, like, who is he going to be? And I think some of this, like, it seems like he was built as that person, right? He's got like this honor for everything he does, but he's going to see things like you see the rebellion doing things for a purpose. Like everything they're doing, sure, there's people dying and all that, but they're doing that for a cause. Well, what the Empire's doing it, what? Just to fucking keep their boots down on people.
Well, sure, but he has stated in the early episodes of season 1 that he was, like essentially like you can never be too aggressive in the pursuit of order or something like that. So he's certainly on board with that kind of structure.
Yeah, but there's got to be one character or see the same thing is Dedra could be the other one, because as evil as she is and everything, she's fucking like, you see her like slowly like losing like her grasp on things.
She is.
Yeah.
She's freaking out, and I could see her becoming disenchanted with what she's dedicated her life to. I could see that.
Yeah.
And then he kills her. And it's like, I will take her place now.
With his fucking seatbelt tie.
Right around the neck.
Yeah.
That's what that scene is. You don't see the seatbelt. He's standing behind her in that scene.
Choking her out. Yep. But you got to, like, that's the big theme in Star Wars, right? And we haven't seen anybody that has really done that yet. So I think one of those two characters are going to have like an about face.
I could see that.
And then both die.
They very well could. I mean, we know a lot of deaths coming here. I could see Edie dying, but only as a way of like showing Syril dealing with it. Coming to grips with his emotions about his mother and how does he really feel about her because she died. Now, what does he do with that? Like,
right. Okay.
You've kind of seen that explored before in film, and TV shows, almost like angry at the mom, like, why the fuck did you die? Why are you making me care about this kind of thing?
Yeah, how dare you? Yeah.
That could
You
be.
think they've got the balls to do like one whole standalone episode that takes place in the Ahsoka universe?
No.
Okay.
Would never happen. Do we miss anybody else? I think that's all the majors as far as deaths go.
Yeah, because we know Saw's crew makes it out.
Yeah. I can't think of anybody else that we haven't really touched on.
Yeah, I think you got the big ones anyways.
Well, there you go. I don't think I have anything else unless you did.
Nope. Not this week.
Not this week. Well, next week, as we talked about, we are going to do. We're not going to go blow by blow as much because we'll get into that a little bit more. I think after the season, dive a little deeper into each episode and all the little details and intricacies. But we're certainly going to go over all the major plot stuff and kind of cycle through it all, and give our take on it. Can't wait to do that. Also, starting with this past week's question of the week, we'll start tracking entries for the giveaway. We're going to give away Reign of the Empire books, right? The Mask of Fear books,
talked
right?
about, yeah.
So we'll give away those. So if you want to do that, just engage with the show, answer our question of the week, send us mailbag emails, send us voicemails. You get entries for that. Write a review, gets you a bunch of entries. If you want to write a review on your favorite podcast player, that would be big. We haven't had one in a little bit, so that'd be good to get some of those. Yeah, but do that and just want to hear from you throughout the season, which is going to be a short one. It's only a month. Yeah.
Right.
And then we'll do our giveaway.
If you write us a review, it has to say Kino Roy rules.
Kino Roy. Does that mean is he his Succession? Isn't that the Succession? Yeah. He was the unknown Succession character. He was like Greg. He's like the character Greg.
The
tall guy.
Yeah, the one that's married to.
No, the other one, the taller guy.
Oh, Greg, the younger
guy.
one. Part of the what was the name of their little group?
I can't remember now.
They had like a nickname for the two of them. They're fucking idiots. Yeah.
Anyway, can't wait. Andor, 7 days. Let's go.
That's it. We don't have any emails or anything, right?
No, we don't.
So, everybody, thank you so much for listening. See you next week. Until next time.
Love it up as well.
We spoke.